Hey, what up, world? So, I came across an article on Bleacher Report by Dan Favale. This is regards to each NBA team during free agency, which will start on October 18th, who each team will be targeting in the direction pretty much for the 2021 season and beyond. So, what we'll do is we're going to cover each of Dan's picks for each NBA team, and I'll give my take and, agree or agree not, and as well as just give my take. But the NBA and the board directors with Adam Silver, they already have had the timeline for the regular season to be hosted in Orlando, as well as the playoffs, and then the free agency, which will begin in October. So he did state that Anthony Davis will be staying with the Lakers. So whenever we look at the Los Angeles Lakers, that won't be the deal. So number one, you see here, so he's got for the Atlanta Hawks, Brandon Ingram. No. So the New Orleans Pelicans will max out Brandon Ingram, who's around 23, 24 years of age. I think 23. He is a restricted free agent, so Brandon Ingram couldn't leave if he wanted to. The Pelicans, of course, are going to match any single offer. And plus, Brandon Ingram, he's not going to sign with any other team. He already has Zion Williamson, as well as Brandon Ingram finally got his first, well, not finally, but this is a well-deserved all-star selection for him this year. Very proud of him. He's been balling out, ever since he left the Lakers, LeBron James. He has the ball in his hands because Zion Williamson was hurt, and Brandon Ingram just got to work. He had the ultimate green light, averaging over 20 a game. So props to Brandon Ingram. When it comes to the Atlanta Hawks, this is not the case. If I had to pick to what they will look at, I still have the Hawks making the playoffs. I don't see another big player signing with that team. They can look in regards to pushing for the playoffs, such as targeting a DeMar DeRozan. They already have Clint Capella at the 5. They don't really have a 3 slot. They have DeAndre Hunter. They can wait an extra season and go for Giannis, but see how DeAndre Hunter progresses within the next season. But if I'm the Atlanta Hawks, you already have John Collins, Capella at your front court. You have Trae Young at the points. Your shooting guard could be Kevin Horter, and then you have, for the small forward, again, DeAndre Hunter. So the 2 and the 3 are pretty much what they're looking at. They can look to make some veteran signings like a Wesley Matthews, put him in at the 2 slot. Within the 3s, again, a DeMar DeRozan. There's really not a specific person to be on this team, but they'll probably try to go for a DeMar DeRozan type. If not doing that, they'll look out for Giannis in 2021 free agency, and they'll just fill out with a couple role players, but nothing too serious. I would expect the Hawks actually trying to look for a Buddy Hield trade within the Kings. More than just a signing. Okay, so second we got the Boston Celtics with Aron Baynes. Just a quick reminder, Aron Baynes did play with the Boston Celtics back around 2 seasons ago. And this is something Aron Baynes has had a stellar season with the Phoenix Suns. And dude's just been balling out on that team in the system. He's a stretch 5, take you mostly in the paint, but he can be able to hit the 3-pointers for the last 2 to 3 seasons. So props to Aron Baynes. I mean, this is a fine pick. The Celtics already have Daniel Theis as their 5. When it comes to their starting 5, the first 4 positions are already filled out. You have Kemba Walker at the point guard position. You have Jaylen Brown as well as Marcus Smart at the 2 from time to time. You already have Gordon Hayward at the 3, and then at 4 you have Jason Tatum. We have to see what happens with the Celtics if they're going to re-sign Gordon Hayward to probably like a 2-year contract. Probably give him around $30 million total, 15 for each year. But at the 5, they do have Daniel Theis, or as well as they can re-sign Enes Kanter. If I'm the Boston Celtics, I would look towards a Serge Ibaka to play the 5. Aron Baynes would be fine with the team. I wouldn't expect him as a starter. I think they need more of a veteran mindset as a Serge Ibaka. I think that would be a better fit for the team. He is a stretch 5 as well with championship experience. Plus, if you're the other team, it takes the Celtics more seriously in the paint. But Daniel Theis is fine. The Celtics are where they need to be. They don't need to make any crazy moves. So, it's whatever when it comes to this pick right here. Third one. So the Brooklyn Nets, Maurice Harkless. Wow. No. Maurice Harkless got moved around he got shot from the Clippers and then I think to the Knicks. No. The Brooklyn Nets, they have an ultimate amount of opportunities when it comes to free agency. They're probably going to let a bunch of their young cats go, either make a trade for Bradley Beal or trying to find a third star. If they don't do that, when it comes to free agency, I would expect for them to look for veterans such as like an Alan Crabb, an Iman Shumpert of the team, a Markieff Morris. I think that would be great as a starting power forward. They have been lacking at the 4 slot. To make it more realistic, I would say target a Markieff Morris or a Marcus Morris, depending if they'll take a pay cut. But if they'll take a pay cut, either of the Morris brothers would be the most legitimate for a free agency signing. Even Maurice Harkless, he wouldn't even be starting as a power forward. I doubt it. I disagree with this 100%. Charlotte Hornets, Malik Beasley, restricted free agent. Malik Beasley's have a great season with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Even same thing whenever D'Lo was traded there. If I'm the Hornets, you're not going to sign any big free agents. This is something to where they have a young core, a young group. You have Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham has been very, very, very good on the team. He's a great three-point shooter. I think he's hitting over 40% from three. The cat is just growing, so great for him. P.J. Washington, a young stud. He had an amazing first 20 games of the season. They're not going to sign anyone big. I think within this week free agency class, they should go for a Montrezl Harrell. He's someone to where you can give him a 2 to 3 year contract, probably a 3 or 4 because the Clippers are going to try to match it. Not match it, he's unrestricted, but the Clippers would pour some money out for him. So you're probably going to have to sign Montrezl Harrell for at least $20 million. I doubt the Clippers would do that. Maybe you have to push it to 25. But with the Hornets, no one's ever going to sign there. So they're going to have to look for in the lottery. Hopefully they get like a LaMelo Ball, James Wiseman. But no, Malik Beasley would probably be a second or third tier player. They should shoot for Montrezl Harrell if I were them. The Chicago Bulls with Derrick Jones Jr. It's not a bad pick. Derrick Jones Jr., I could see him getting signed to the Atlanta Hawks as well as that's actually a good one for the Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Just a young team. Same thing with the Miami Heat. The Bulls, yeah, that's fine in their direction. The Bulls are really lacking on a true point guard and as well as a small forward to be on their team. You do have Otto Porter Jr. around $23 million. This will be his last season with them. He's going to opt into his contract, so you're going to be stuck on the book with him. Derrick Jones will probably ask around $10 to $15 million a year. I would much like to see Derrick Jones Jr. in the starting lineup. When it comes to the Bulls, they already have their foundation with Larry Markkinen and Zach LaVine. And then they do have Wendell Carter Jr. at the 5, so they're all set there. I'm fine with Derrick Jones Jr. at the 3 slot, targeting for him. There's not really another player that they can really go for, unless they go for like a Gallinari, slot him at the 3 slot to kind of give him a push to make the playoffs. But beside that, I don't have a problem with that. Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, so I haven't seen this article. So what I was saying before, the Cavaliers, Derrick Jones would be a great fit on the team. I actually do think they need a true shooting guard. Small forward, you can throw them there as well. They should be able to sign Andre Drummond on their team because you're not going to get any other key free agents. I think they need to ship off Kevin Love away, so it kind of depends on who they get in return. They should look to pretty much kind of blow up the team. They have a bunch of young cats on there that I'm fine with, like Cedi Osman. You do have Colin Sexton. Darius Garland needs to grow a couple years. Just put him off the bench. But if it comes to a small forward, Derrick Jones Jr. is the way to go. There's not a true point guard as a starting or shooting guard I would really push to be on the Cavs, so you may have to run that backcourt of Garland and Sexton, kind of give it another year. I wouldn't recommend it, but, it is what it is. Dallas Mavericks with Jay Crowder. So Jay Crowder played on the Mavs for 3 to 4 seasons back in, I think it was like 2013 to 2015, but the Mavs did trade away Jay Crowder in 2015, part of the Rondo trade, which was a detriment to the Mavericks. Low-key, guys, when it came to the Mavericks in 2015 for their first, I think, 30 games or so, I expected them to actually push to make the conference finals in 2015. That team was very underrated and loaded. They just brought back Tyson Chandler. You had Monte Ellis with Dirk. Sean Marion still at your 3. And then at your point guard, who they have? They brought in Jameer Nelson, very underrated as well. And then their bench was crazy deep. Brandon Wright, Jay Crowder. I think J.J. Brea was still on there. You had a lot of other cats I'm forgetting about, other veterans. But they traded him away. I wouldn't take Jay Crowder back on this new Mavs team. They're going in a new era. Whenever it comes to the Mavericks in this offseason, I would actually look to target LaMarcus Aldridge. I think him with KP at the 4-5 slot would be very nice. They do already have Dwight Powell. He has a not career ending. He has a season injury, so we have to reevaluate that. Maxi Kleber has been very great with them. For the Mavericks, if they can find a 5, even maybe bring back Tyson Chandler for his last season, I will look for more towards that. They're probably going to have to look for 2021 for a true free agent, maybe even go for Giannis, someone along those lines. But when it comes to them, they already have Luka and you have KP going off at it. They already have their point guard pretty much in set. When you have Steph Curry, DeLon Wright, you have Jalen Brunson, then you can run J.J. Barea at any time. So they're cool with that. Luka bringing the ball up. When it comes to Jay Crowder, no, the Mavericks should not go for him. They should actually look to either go for LaMarcus Aldridge, Serge Ibaka to play the 5 or the 4 with KP in the mix, because the Mavericks are going to have cap space. You have a few deals or a few contracts going to be expired within that. Next, the Denver Nuggets, Jay Crowder, once again. No, I like Jay Crowder on the Miami Heat. Jay Crowder is actually he's a cat that he can play on multiple teams. Because he's a 3-and-D player. He's chill playing a 3 or 4. He's cool with it. With the Nuggets, I would actually, for them, see, they already have their point guard sets with Jamal Murray. He can play the 2 at times. You have Jokic still running the 5. You're probably going to lose Paul Millsap. They should look for a Serge Ibaka to slide over to play the 4. If not that, you can always run. I'm trying to think who they really need. Maybe a Bojan Bogdanovic, just more key shooters in the perimeter. They're not going to make any big moves or big signings. I think if they're actually going to go for one main guy, if they really want to go deep in the playoffs, DeMar DeRozan to fill the 3 slot. You still have Michael Porter Jr. I believe he'll grow with them. Mike Malone has given him around 8 to 12 minutes pretty much per game, going very slowly because he's been out numerous times in the regular season. But probably DeMar DeRozan, if you're really going to have Michael Porter Jr., kind of recovering from there. Detroit Pistons with Fred VanVleet. No, I don't agree with this at all. If you're Fred VanVleet, you're trying to get paid. You already won a championship. You can prove you can be on a starting team to win the finals. Fred VanVleet is a 6-man right behind Kyle Lowry. But whenever it came to the 2019 finals, he did start in the multiple times in the second half, running the point guard and the shooting guard back and forth with Kyle Lowry. So Fred VanVleet, he's in the time period of his career to where he's 26, 27. He wants to get the bag. He wants to get around 15 to 20 million at least per year and then be a starter on a team. I think more of a better fit would be like a Miami Heat, a contending role. He can be a starter. Not the Pistons. The Pistons are a mess. And plus you have Derrick Rose as of right now. But if you are the Detroit Pistons, who you should go for, it's tough because you already have Blake Griffin down for $36 million. You have Tony Snell on the team with a lot of money on the contract. The team's just straight up a mess. I don't really know what direction they're going. They're probably going to have to try to run it with Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin one more year. If that is the case, I don't see any key free agent that they can really go for. So maybe a Jeremy Grant or someone that kind of fills that role. But Fran VanVleet, no way. Okay, this is a good one. So the Golden State Warriors with Marc Gasol. I never really thought about Marc Gasol with the Warriors before, but this is a great mix. They've always ran Andrew Bogut at the 5. A couple times they had Kevin Looney and other cats like that. Sometimes Jordan Bell. I prefer whenever they had a European player who was big and who can be able to move the ball, like an Andrew Bogut. Marc Gasol would be perfect. He's a stretch 5, so this is something Bogut can be able to shoot from the outside perimeter. Marc Gasol won't be doing this a lot, but whenever it comes to a pick and roll, all the attention is on Steph Curry. He can kick it out to Marc Gasol. And Marc Gasol, he won't require that much money anyways. I believe in his career, he already won a championship. He would go to the Warriors for around $5 to $7 million, probably for a 1-year contract. So I really do like that. You're going to have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and Marc Gasol. That's a top 3 team in the Western Conference right there. So that's a perfect fit. That was actually a really good one. Houston Rockets with Jeremy Grant. No way. The Rockets are a mess. They're probably going to get rid of Mike D'Antoni. They really need a 5 on the team. I would actually like for them to go for Serge Ibaka. I think that's the best fit for their kind of quote-unquote small ball. They want to be able to have a bunch of stretch fives, stretch fours. I think Serge Ibaka playing the 5, and then you have Russ and Harden at the 2. They're going to keep PJ Tucker, move him to the 4 slot, and then at the 3, keep Robert Covington. That'd be a great fit for the team. Maybe even go for a DeMarcus Cousins at the 5. But no, Jeremy Grant doesn't fit this team. They already have a bunch of small forwards and power forwards that are. And no, Jeremy Grant won't be able to fit really with this team. Whenever it comes to Russ and Harden, they want 3-and-D players who can hit the 3 consistently. They don't need any Jeff Green or Jeremy Grant type players or like a Finney Smith Jr. The Indiana Pacers with Joe Harris. I mean, it's not a bad pick. I don't think that'll be the number one thing they should go for. You do have Oladipo, Malcolm Brogdon. Let's see here. Thaddeus Young will be a free agent, so they probably need to fill that 4 slot. You do have Miles Turner at the 5, and then I'm trying to think who they're running at the 3 as of right now. It just crossed. I can't really think. I think probably a Danilo Gallinari will fit best for this team. They're going to have the cap space to do so, and plus they're trying to make a second-round appearance, if anything. I don't think the Pacers are going anywhere. They're just kind of fooling themselves, kind of let the years pass. But with Joe Harris, they can do better than that. I would go for a Gallinari. He would fit better offensively. The LA Clippers with Marc Gasol. Yeah, that's a fine pick. I think he fits way better and more smoother and fluid with the Golden State Warriors. If you're the Los Angeles Clippers, you're going to have a lot of expiring contracts, as well as Reggie Jackson for backup point guard. You're going to have Marcus Morris Jr. He's the starting power forward as of right now. And then, you're always going to have Kawhi. You're going to have Paul George. You may even lose out on Montrezl Harrell. Patrick Beverley's still going to be starting there. So I think their key initiative would be able to re-sign some of these cats. If they lose all of those guys that I've just named, that's pretty scary for the Clippers. You would have to definitely look for maybe Serge Ibaka. I know I throw that name around, but Serge Ibaka could play pretty much for any team, and he's a perfect fit for a 5. I would actually look for either Marc Gasol or Serge Ibaka. Serge Ibaka would fit better on that team, but I actually expect Montrezl Harrell to re-sign with them. Steve Ballmer's already got the bag, so he's gonna pay him for sure. The LA Lakers, Goran Dragic. No, that is the terrible pick. No, heck no. Like, listen, whenever LeBron's on a team, he's a small forward, quote unquote, but trust me, he runs the point guard position. Whenever he was on Cleveland with Kyrie, he moved Kyrie out of the way. Even Kyrie was talking to Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue was like, "Hey, Kyrie, I need you to do X, Y, and Z on offense. Why aren't you doing this? Because you're the point guard." And Kyrie's like, "What are you talking about? I'm not the point guard. I mean, LeBron brings the ball up every time. Go tell him." And that's what LeBron does. So LeBron loves the ball in his hands. He loves to be that quote-unquote point guard or point forward. So Goran Dragic does not fit at all. Usually if you're a point guard like a Mario Chalmers, like a Matthew Dellavedova at times when he was running with the team, Mo Williams, LeBron will beam the ball up. You need to be an off guard who can shoot and play defense. So if you're the Lakers, number 1, Anthony Davis, which is, that's a no-brainer. So you go for AD. If not for AD, whenever you sign AD, the most realistic is to re-sign all the cats. They're not going to have the cap space. I would actually look for the Lakers to clear the cap space, try to make a trade with the Thunder to where they would have 3 max contracts pretty much of LeBron, AD, and CP3. I think Chris Paul would fit perfectly on this team. LeBron could push back to a point forward, and Chris Paul can actually dictate the offense, and we would see that team would be way better than Chris Paul at point guard than LeBron. I know that's not a free agency signing, but I would actually prefer that than any other guys out there. Again, this is a weak free agency class, so that's what I would actually go for. No, Goran Dragic does not fit whatsoever. Memphis Grizzlies, Tony Snell. Come on, man. You can do better than that. The Grizzlies are the 8th seed. They're 90% going to make the playoffs. Probably going to get swept to the Los Angeles Lakers. John Morant's going to need another cat with him. You do have a bunch of young guys on there. I like Jaren Jackson Jr. You do have Valanciunas at the 5. I'm fine with that. I think they should be able to make a trade for Valanciunas. I'm not crazy about him. When it comes to a free agency signing, there's not anyone in particular that I would like to be on the team. I can't really think of a young cat. Probably a Jeremy Grant out of anything. The Grizzlies are going to get anyone crazy, just a bunch of role players, and they'll grow together. Maybe even look to trade for a Michael Porter Jr. because if DeMar DeRozan, signs with them and Michael Porter Jr. is barely playing, that would be a perfect, 1-2 punch. You have John Moran and Michael Porter. So I think they should look more for into trades, if anything. That's just me personally. The Miami Heat with Danilo Gallinari. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's not bad. Gallinari, you have to sign him to a 1-year contract, if anything, because they are targeting Victor Oladipo and Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I think the Miami Heat are pretty much going to play off this year with kind of the same role of players. Try to go for a conference finals appearance, if anything. But then again, I would actually look for them to actually try to find some trades for Bradley Beal. I think that's actually possible. They have a bunch of young cats on there. You have Tyler Herro. You can have Duncan Robinson. You can have the point guard. I just crossed my mind. I can't think of his name right now. And a couple picks. The Wizards would make that happen instantly. I would look for more trades. If they can't get anything, then just let the season pass. Bring back Jay Crowder. Maybe, I just think they should re-sign pretty much 90-95% of their team. They don't really need to work in free agency like that. That's just my opinion, though. The Milwaukee Bucks with Joe Harris. Nah. No, listen. Giannis Antetokounmpo, this is going to be his last contract season with the Milwaukee Bucks. You're not going to target Joe Harris. Come on now. I would actually look for them to make a trade for CP3. CP3 does have 1 year left on his contract, same thing as Giannis. I think this is something to where they can go all in, all out for a championship. You're probably going to lose a couple players on the Bucks like Wesley Matthews, maybe even George Hill, cats like that. So the Bucks, they have to go all in, all out. No, Joe Harris is not going to get it done. Giannis is going to need, a force to help him get to the playoffs, or not the playoffs, the finals, and let alone win it. Let's see, the Minnesota Timberwolves with Paul Millsap, that makes no sense whatsoever. I think the Timberwolves honestly should just blow it up, trade away Cat and D'Lo to the Phoenix Suns. And I actually do have, if you look at one of my videos, if you scroll down, rebuilding the Phoenix Suns, I actually put a trade package in there. I think works well with a third-team trade. I won't go too much into that, just look at it. But the Timberwolves need to blow it up. If they do keep it with D'Lo and Cat, they're still not going to make the playoffs. Paul Millsap makes no sense. Plus, they need to run Cat at the 4, not the 5. The Timberwolves are just a mess whatsoever. If anything, whatever, go for Derrick Jones Jr. But it's just, I don't want to go into the Wolves. It's wasted time talking about them. The Pelicans with Serge Ibaka, not bad whatsoever. I don't think they need to rush the process by bringing any veterans on the team like that. Your point. Listen, your starting unit is going to be Lonzo. I actually think they should trade away Drew Holiday. I think he's depreciating, and I've said this from last season. That could be debated. You're going to have Brandon Ingram at the 3, Zion at the 4 always. So you do have a core 3. You can always run Josh Hart at the starting shooting guard. I don't really prefer that, but that's something you can do. At the starting 5, Derek Favors does not mesh with the team whatsoever, let alone like any team. He's just pretty much a blob out there. For a 5, I would actually like to see them run with Jackson Hayes. He's a young cat. He needs to build around 20, 25 pounds of muscle, but he has a lot of potential. I would actually start him at the 5. He's more lengthier, kind of like a Clint Capella type, kind of JaVale a little bit. I would actually work with him and then just fill out the rest of your roster with the veterans who don't require too much ball attention and time. I can't really think of anyone that comes to mind really as of right now. Maybe a Bogdan Bogdanovic. He's like 27 years old. I think he'll be great as your starting small or shooting guard, maybe even off the bench. Something like that. Let the young cats develop. Don't rush their process. They're going to make the playoffs, let alone. The Knicks with Fran VanVleet. No, this makes no sense. No, the Knicks, oh man. Listen, if the Knicks are going to stay young with their core of Kevin Knox, not even a core, but they're Kevin Knox, Frank, you have R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, keep it together. Fran VanVleet does not make any sense for this team. Fran VanVleet, again, he belongs to like a Miami Heat back on the Raptors, something like that. I really don't know the answer for the Knicks because I know they're not going to blow up their team. They're not going to go 100% and blow it up. So they're going to have to keep their young team together. They're just a mess. And, there's no free agency out there that can actually make an impact. There's really nothing for the Knicks. I think what they actually need to do is just blow it up, trade away pretty much the young guys, get some picks, if anything, and then probably, if you're going to go for CP3, go for him, but try to get a verbal for like a LaMarcus Aldridge or a DeMar DeRozan, just build some veterans, but let alone, the Knicks are a mess. I mean, I could care less. The Thunder with KCP, no, I don't like this fit whatsoever. No, they have a bunch of shooting guards and small forwards that they can be able to rely on besides KCP, who is inconsistent. I think he's like 26, 27. He's going to demand around 10 to 15 million for the past 3 seasons. Same thing as this. No way, no how. If you're the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm going to take in consideration that they'll trade away Chris Paul for probably a pick or two. They would probably be able to clear that cap space with some younger cats. I think they should be able. I want them to keep Steven Adams. There's been trade rumors that can go here or there. When it comes to the team, they're probably going to have to look for and Gallinari, they're not going to re-sign. He'll be a free agent. So you have to bring some young cats on the team. Whenever it comes to, I can't really think of young cats as a 4 or 5 as of right now. Maybe. I don't really know as of right now, but KCP, no, that's not an option. Fill out the 4 and 5 slot. Well, I'm just going to assume that Chris Paul gets traded. Steven Adams is the 5. So maybe even sign a Derrick Jones Jr. Maybe he doesn't really fit that much. But with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's perfect as a shooting guard. They'll probably run Dennis Schroeder at the 1 and then Steven Adams at the 5. Probably some younger cats with some picks. The Orlando Magic with Goran Dragic, no, I don't like that at all. The Magic are in a weird state. They're kind of like the Pacers, but a little more potential. There's no true star on the Orlando Magic. I think they're going to stay young with Markelle Fultz, who's around 21, 22. Aaron Gordon hasn't progressed like I thought he would. He hasn't. He's 6'8". He's undersized as a power forward in his position. He needs to build a little more muscle. You do have the 5. You can either run Vucevic and Mo Bamba at times. At the 3, Jonathan Isaac, very promising. The shooting guard, they'll probably lose Evan Fournier in free agency. So if they're going to go for a 2, or maybe even run Markelle Fultz as a 2 as a combo guard, then go for a Fred VanVleet at your starting point guard with him. I think that's more of a better fit for Fred VanVleet to join a team. Same thing with the Magic. The Philadelphia 76ers, Langston Galloway. What? Bro, this man's funny who made this list. No, Langston Galloway, who the heck goes in free agency and says, guys, we need Langston Galloway on our team? What the heck? No. If you're Philly, man, I made another video on this called Retooling the Sixers. I want them to run Ben Simmons at the small forward position. I want them to fire Brett Brown. I want them to bring in like a DJ Augustine as a starting point guard, maybe even trade for Ricky Rubio, put him either one of those 2 at the 1. At the 2 slot, go for Wesley Matthews. Simmons at 3, make him more of a scorer. Tell him he needs to stop being so passive, kind of like LeBron. Go and actually work on your jumper and we'll look to score and drive in. At the 4 slot, you can look for a Markieff Morris in free agency. You can try to make a trade for LaMarcus Aldridge, something like that. At 5, you keep Joel Embiid. Actually, my bad, guys. At the 4, you keep Tobias Harris. I forgot about him. So kind of think of a starting 5 as either DJ Augustine or Ricky Rubio at the point. Then at the shooting guard, you're going to have Wesley Matthews. Then after that, Ben Simmons, Tobias, and Joel Embiid. I think that starting 5 would be beautiful. It's something to where they can have a better, more fluid starting lineup within that team. That's my opinion. So is what it is. Suns with Bogdan Bogdanovic, I mean, that's fine. I mean, the Suns, they have DeAndre Ayton. You have Devin Booker as your starting core. Maybe look to trade for Michael Porter Jr. I'm always going to throw that name out there because he can get, he's probably not going to trust Mike Malone when it comes to it. And the Nuggets are in an interesting position. It's kind of forced that he's on the team. I mean, I'm fine with Bogdan. It's not a big deal. I don't expect too much with the Phoenix Suns. In their team, I still don't think they're making the playoffs, and they're in the tough Western Conference, so they're not a team I really see that much potential. Probably in like 3 years, but Devin Booker is going to be mentally checked out. Probably going to demand a trade by them. The Blazers with Jeremy Grant, I mean, that's fine, but listen, guys, they just missed the playoffs. Damian Lillard wants to be reloaded. They may even trade away CJ McCollum. I think they should go for LaMarcus Aldridge. I think that's perfect. for that team. You can run them at the 4, find, maybe even sign JaVale McGee at the 5. Then you have Dame at the 1. Then you can have CJ at the 2. Then at the 3, you can probably look for, just maybe like a Ben McLemore, just kind of a filler player. Maybe re-sign Trevor Ariza. Something kind of along those lines. But, I'm fine with Jeremy Grant, but they probably have bigger eyes to make back the playoffs in a dramatic change. The Sacramento Kings with Jay Crowder, bro, why do they keep throwing his name around like that? The Kings, man, they're in a weird slot. The West is too packed. They're not going to make the playoffs anyway. There's really no reason to blow it up because you have De'Aaron Fox, who's around 21 years of age. You have a young team, Morgan Bagley. You're probably going to have to – I think they should probably move Buddy Hield because they're not going to make the playoffs. They'll probably move him midway through the season with that 4-year contract. I really don't have like a true answer for this team. They're not going to make the playoffs either way. I don't have any hope in them. They can find some little role players out there. There's no one that's going to be that drastic. So, I could really care less. We're almost done here. So, the San Antonio Spurs, Dario Saric. Listen, LaMarcus Aldridge, he's going to leave in free agency. Same thing as DeMar DeRozan. So, all the vets are gone. You're going to have Derek White with there, as well as Dejounte Murray. So, there's going to be your pretty much your back court. On your front court, I think the San Antonio Spurs should look to make a trade for Rudy Gobert. I know Rudy Gobert and the Jazz, they've butted heads, especially with the coronavirus. I think Donovan Mitchell is checked out with him. They want to go a new direction. I think the Spurs should either throw in some young players or picks, bring in Rudy, who's around 27 years of age. If not that, if they're targeting a free agency currently, there's really no, impactful players. There's kind of role players when it comes to this team. I would look more in the trading direction. The Toronto Raptors, Justin Holiday, no. Serge Ibaka, Marcus Gasol, and Fred VanVleet can leave, so you got to keep your eyes on them. I would keep that same core championship team. Bring those guys, maybe even some pay cuts, and bring in DeMar DeRozan. They need a 3. They lost Kawhi Leonard, and even though DeMar DeRozan doesn't play exactly like Kawhi, but he can go more isolated and hit the midi, just like Kawhi Leonard. The team already has championship DNA if they keep it together. So adding DeMar, he doesn't need that championship DNA for himself, but they would get right there to make the finals. And plus, that'd be a great story and a great field back for DeMar DeRozan. I think this is very legitimate. For the Jazz, Jeff Teague, no. No one's going to trade away for Mike Conley. You're going to keep that $31 million intact unless they include Mike Conley with the Rudy Gobert trade to the Spurs, which is possible if the Spurs were desperate. Listen, you're already going to have Mike Conley at the 1. If anything, you can try Donovan Mitchell at the 1. I probably would try that out for a couple games, see how that goes. Whenever it comes to Rudy Gobert, if he does stay on the team or not, there's not really a true person that can be able to change the Jazz. I would actually go for Danilo Gallinari, within this team. And the Wizards, Derrick Jones Jr., no, the Wizards need to trade away Bradley Beal and John Wall. I would actually go for that Miami Heat trade, get a bunch of picks, get Kendrick Nunn, you get Duncan Robinson, Tyler Herro, bunch of picks within that. You'll have cap space that's finally cleared. Ian Mahimi's big contract's actually going to be gone. And then you can actually go for, just a young stud out there. Again, there's no young players that can really make an impact within that. Maybe even throw in Taco Fall a contract. Or someone. There's really, nothing too big when it comes to it. But if they still have John Wall and Bradley Beal, want to give it another run, then go for DeMar DeRozan, honestly. If not DeMar DeRozan, go for Serge Ibaka. Actually, no, they need to go for DeMarcus Cousins. If they're running one last year with John Wall experimenting with Bradley Beal, John Wall is very fond of DeMarcus Cousins. Plus, DeMarcus Cousins is trying to prove something. I think that's actually best for both sides if they're going that way. Overall, guys, that's how I see the last 30 teams. Not all of it was about free agent signings. I have visions for other teams of how they can work as general managers, maybe through some trades. But hey, it is what it is. But no, I mostly disagree with this author, man. This was a terrible list, to be honest. Probably 2 of them that I agree with.